In today's video, I want to show you a technique that was used in joinery hundreds of years ago that still holds true today. If you ever wondered why the furniture pieces in museums stood the test of time, well, one of the secrets is traditional mortise and tenon joinery. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through step by step so you too can incorporate traditional mortise and tenon joinery in your woodworking projects. I have my stiles and my rails for both doors, and the profile that I'm going to use on my doors is this profile. It's one that I've taken out of my kitchen, and I made a template, and then I flipped that template along center line. And what I would normally do is just make the profile like this, cut my tenons on each end because I'm using mortise and tenon joinery. But I thought it would be easier for you to see if I just go ahead and cut one. Now I can still cut my tenons on this, but the preferable way would be to leave it square and not cut the profile until after the tenons. So on the end will be a tenon. So I just placed it here and then flipped it along center line to get the other side. It is much more accurate if you do it this way because you're using the same template versus having a long one. And the long one can change a little bit across the distance. I'm going to go ahead and lay out my mortises. So I'll show you how I lay them out, and then I will bring you back in at the mortises. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take my lower rail, flush it at the bottom, and then roughly just mark across. Now what I want to do is step in 3/8 from the bottom, and I will square that across. Then with my marking gauge already set, I'm going to mark the line for the width of my mortise. So this will be my mortise. So in order to lay out the rest of my mortises, I would just flush to the bottom. And I really don't have to use the marking gauge because I will already have the mortises set up on the initial one. And I would just have to know where to start and to stop. Because I have a wide board for my upper rail, I'm going to have a tenon and a tenon with a ligament in between. So I will have a mortise and a mortise, and then they go together like that. Now on the lower rail, it would just be a single mortise. Okay, I have my mortises set up to cut the mortises in my stiles. I have a spacer block just to be able to give me a little more room because of the thickness of the workpiece. I have my depth gauge set by using a spacer for a 7/8 tenon. Now a couple of things to be mindful of is against my fence, I have the back side of my stile. This is the front side. So whenever I come down and make the mortise, all of them will be made at the same registration. So I will make the mortise, I'll plunge down, and I will slide, and I will plunge down again. And what that will do is it'll leave a little gap in between where I plunged. And the reason for that is as this bit comes down and I make my first plunge, if I move over, because there's now no support on that side, the bit is going to want to deflect that side. So I would make a plunge, skip, make a plunge, skip, make a plunge, and then come back and catch those areas that I skipped. All right, I'm going all the way to that end, establishing that end cut. And now I'm catching everything in between that I missed. Now I'm going to clean out the bottom of all the mortises. That's to ensure I don't have anything in there holding up my tenon. And I do that to all of the mortises. And then I start cutting my tenons. Using my crosscut sled, I have my stop block set up to make a 7/8 tenon. Now I have a piece of scrap material. It's actually an offcut of my rails. So it's a good piece to use as a test piece to ensure I have my stop block set correctly and I have my blade correctly. So I'm going to take a cut right at the very end of my test piece to ensure I have my blade set correctly. Okay, on my test cut, I now have my tenon centered in the center of my workpiece and at the right height to give me a 1/4-inch tenon. I'm now ready to cut the tenons on all of my rails. So I'm going to establish my shoulder cuts first, here with a sled, and then with my tenoning jig, I will stand the workpiece up and cut the cheeks. I have my tenoning jig set up. I have the blade height set to the correct dimension. And what I've done is I have it set to where I'm actually cutting a thicker tenon than what I really want, just to ensure that I don't overshoot the dimension that I'm looking for. So regardless if I'm hitting my mark from the marking knife, I just want to ensure that I'm getting a good fitting tenon. So I will go through an iteration of cuts and chats until I find the perfect fit, and then I will cut all of my rails. I have my door frame laid out, and I have marked the tenon locations at each corner. Now that's really important to ensure everything goes back to its original place. Now for each tenon, I will have to cut away the material that's not needed to ensure I have a good fitting joint. Real roughly, I will cut away this material, and then I will fit each joint one at a time until I get the proper fit. Just want to ensure you have nothing left in the corner that's going to hold you out from a good fit. I have all my tenons prepared and ready to go into the mortise, and I've done a trial fit, number 3 to number 3, and it fits really well, real easy to put in, a nice strong joint, number tenon. Now number 4 to number 4, cut at the same time, in the same methods, and although I can get it in, it's just too tight. I have a choice. Either I can work on the mortise or I can work on the tenon. But what I'm going to choose is just to work on the tenon. And I'm going to use a fine file. Now I can use the shoulder plate, but I don't need much at all. It takes very little to make a good fit here. So all I'm doing is just barely changing with a real fine file the kinks of my tenon. When I do on one side, I do on the other. And there again, try it, test it, and it probably didn't do a whole lot. It's going to need more work than that. Let's see. Well, it's better, but it's still too tight. And what you may think is, well, you were able to put it in with one hand, and that's a good fit, and it is. But by the time you get glue on it, it's going to really be too tight. Let me show you another method. Okay, a piece of sandpaper on a cork block. It can be a piece of hardwood. Just making sure that you hold it square. Just lightly abrade the surface of the tenons. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. Now I'm staying away from my cheek for the most part. Not putting much pressure there. Now that's will probably be pretty good. And that's much better. Real good fit. Everything is even across the joint. And I may take it down a little bit more. Nice fit. So that's a good fit. What I'm going to do is I go through this process with all my joinery to ensure I have really nice fitting joints. So I'm going to put this door together with you just to show you how it fits. With my number 7, a number 7, fits really well. Number 6 to number 6. Maybe a little tight. In fact, I'm going to work on that right now. This is a piece of wore out 150. Again, number 6 to number 6. That's good. Now for the other side. Just a real good fit. I'm really happy with how the joinery has turned out on both these doors. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please like and subscribe to our channel. So take this technique, incorporate it into your woodworking projects, so they too can be passed to your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. I'm Steve Gaskins with Fine Woodworking in South Carolina. Love and appreciate you guys. God bless.